to do. And then you're draining yourself and you're stressed all the time. So who lost in this situation?
Right.
Who loses, you know? And I understand the whole thing with balance too, but like, how low are you supposed to bend yourself to please other people? Right. It takes from you. It takes all the time, especially when you're not expecting anything back. You know, it's like you're just giving and giving and giving. Right. At a time, there will be nothing to give. And guess who is at loss? You. Right. You know, so very mental. So enjoy to the fullest. If you know you're wasting your time, waste it well. At least, you know what I'm saying? Waste it well for 3 hours, right. You know, and then prepare yourself for what you still have to do later. You know, don't put the stress in your enjoyment period, but like prepare yourself like, okay, you know what, for the rest of Saturday, I'll just relax.
So be more intentional with it.
Be intentional with it. That's right. The word. Okay. And then on Sunday, just know that you have to do everything back to back. If you're a procrastinator, good luck to you. But I just feel there are times like that as human beings, even as students, that we go through that. It's not a new thing, but like be intentional with it. If you want to relax, it's fine. You could take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, relax. Make sure you are not thinking about that stressful moment that you still need to deal with later. Right, you know, so you know that you actually took your moment to enjoy yourself. And then when you're going back to what you have to do, you do it at the right time, if that makes sense. At least that's what I do. Throughout Saturday, I was like, I'm not doing nothing. Apart from applying for jobs, but like the other thing with schoolwork, I wanted to do schoolwork. But then I was like, you know what, I'll just use the rest of the day to relax. And then Sunday, I just started doing everything back to back.
Right.
But yeah.
So it's kind of like prioritizing everything and making sure you are doing what you need to do.
Yes, you have to be a good time manager.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next thing. So I know you have an interesting, I feel like you have such a fun like relationship with like your parents. Like you and your dad has your, like, y'all have your own thing, and then you and your mom, you have your own thing.
Yes, that's true.
So, like, what, like, I guess, like, what is your role in your family?
I'm the first child out of 6 kids. I always say this to people, it's a lot to carry as a person, but I like being the firstborn. In as much as sometimes I say I hate it, when I think about it, I'm like, if I was the third born, I would be in America. You know what I'm saying? Or like, if there are other benefits that I enjoy as the first child that I'm like, if I was the middle child or the last child,
like, what would that be like?
Yeah, why would I want to answer to my younger sister? Imagine if the roles were changed. Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. But like you said, my mom is somebody that I could confidently call my best friend. Even though, but we relate as such. I don't technically have a best friend, but if I were to have one, my mom will be that person. She's the person that understands me. We fight. I mean, I can count how many times we've fought as people, but we always have a way of making it up. My mom we've gotten to a point where we understand each other. We have conversations like this, something I didn't think was going to be possible in my life or the life after because of how I grew up with my mom. Right. But with my dad, I also have a special relationship with him. Now we are getting closer. We've never been apart in a way, but I've always looked at him as, I've been looking at him from a place of fear, you know, like, oh, this is my dad. I have to respect him regardless. Do you understand? I've not
kind of like a hierarchy.
Yes. I've never seen him as, I mean, before now, it was never a relationship. Oh, Daddy, let me tell you about my boyfriend. No, it's never. It's not even probably never going to happen.
It's like, no, the hammer's gonna come down.
You know, but my mom knows every single person in my life. She knows people that are trying to creep into my life. She knows the ones that have left, the ones that are still there. But my dad doesn't have that detail. But we have a cool relationship. He came to America recently. I don't know. We shot a podcast together too.
Yes.
That's the closest I've been to my dad in 7 years. So seeing him was just amazing. And, you know, having him, he didn't even object when I was like, you want to shoot a podcast with me? He's like, yeah, sure, we'll do whatever.
Wow.
You know? And I was like, okay. You know, he was like, what am I supposed to say? I'm like, don't worry, we'll just go with it. And, you know, I like listening to my dad too, because I call him erudite. He reads a lot. And even though I know exactly what he's talking about, when he says it, it's it just sounds different in my ears. You know, it's like it feels like I'm learning something from him. So I have a way I look at my dad, and I have a way I look at my mom, and both of them, I mean, I'm proud to say that they've done a very good job with their kids and with the way they handle their affairs. I've never, I don't know if this is too much information, but I've never seen them fight in front of us. It's not as if they've never fought, but like I don't even hear about it. The only time I hear about it is when my mom just says it casually. You know what I'm saying? After they've made up. Or actually, I lied. There was this one time that my mom was like, "Go give your dad his food," and that was when I knew they were fighting. You know, or she was mad at him or something. I don't know. But then the next day they just make up. So it's more of they have a very good way of, you know, keeping their business private and also handling their kids the best way they can. So they've been able to show us that model of, you know, how to raise a good family, I guess. And my dad is the definition of hard work. He doesn't talk too much, but he knows how to express himself very well. And I'm like my mom. I'm like out there, very outspoken.
Go and get the world. Yes.
Very dramatic. I'll admit that, you know. But yeah, that's basically what it is.
So I know that, like in podcast 12, you talked about.
He's just giving me everything in details. Okay, Tony,
I listened to all your podcasts. You're talking about expectations.
Yes, that's actually my favorite episode yet. I mean, for me, yeah, because most times when I talk to people, they always refer to that one. So I'm like, yeah. But yeah, go ahead with your question.
So I just wanted to know more about, like, you know, how does, you know, your family see, like, you know, their expectations of, like, you, and how does that affect, and how does that bleed kind of into, like, your other relationships?
Excuse me. Like I said before, first out of 6, that alone is a lot of work. It would have been different if we were 3, or 4. I want to say this real quick before I continue. So yesterday I was thinking, I was like, I don't know how somebody said they wanted to give birth to 5 kids. You know how your mind travels to like a bunch of places?
Right, just wonders.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I want 3 kids. I just kept saying that for like 2 minutes straight. I was like, no. And then my mind was saying, oh, but your parents had 6. I'm like, I'm not my parents. No, I just want 3 children. Like, I want children that kind of, I started giving my reasons, you know?
Right.
But back to this. Anyway, like I said, it's one thing if we had 3 kids, and then, you know, you don't really have to worry about, you know, taking care of them, because a human being is a lot of money taking care of you from cradle till, you know, becoming an adult. I didn't know how serious responsibilities were until I was by myself here in this country. When I had to fend for myself, and then when I had to think of the people I'm going to fend for in the future, you know, it's a lot of responsibilities. And for me, the first child, they put you on this pedestal, right? They expect you to be perfect. Believe it or yes, daddy, I'm calling you out. So they put you on this pedestal. Sometimes they don't say it, other times they say it. So growing up, when my younger brother or my younger sister did something wrong, my dad will punish me for his crime. And I didn't understand it. It made me crazy. It's like, what the hell? I didn't do it, you know? But he was like, no, but you were there when he was committing the crime, right? And I'm like, he was like, you would have cautioned him. You're the first. They look up to you. So whatever you say, they follow. So, I mean, it became my motto. And I guess that was where I got my attitude of putting things in place, you know, of being super organized. Like, it started in my family. So there were times where I'll tell my younger ones, I'm like, okay, it's Saturday. So we need to do so and so and so and so things. I would do half of the work. I'll share it amongst the other ones, and I'll be like, the first person to get it done gets so and so amount of money. Maybe that's the last money I have in my pocket, but guess what? I best believe I'm going to finish all that work, you know, so I can get my money back. But then it was another way of propelling them to work. You know, there were times where I get so pissed and I'm like, nobody's eating this morning until we have everything done. And they thought I was being mean, but it's because I know them. Once they eat, everybody gets tired and they don't want to do anything. But when you're hungry, you want to finish the work on time just so you could eat. So it was different ways that they brought me up, you know, and I had to learn different ways to like make things work in my family. So my so-called leadership skills started from my house. You know, I had to learn how to lead my younger ones. I had to learn how to not maybe command them, but like be somebody that they could look up to. So here in America, whatever I do is for them. you know, and it's not for me. I mean, it's for me, but like every time I do stuff, I always think of my younger ones in such a way that, oh my God, I want to be settled so I could help the next person, you know, and the person after that. So if I help the next person, like my sister, for example, is just earning well, and maybe we have an emergency in the house, we could all contribute to help the next person. And then if the next person gets better, you know, it gets better in my family. And then from there, I could spread that love to my extended family. That's the way I think, you know. And yeah, I don't read these books for fun, yo. I read it for them, you know.
Read it for a purpose.
Yes. I don't yeah, it's for them. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
So how does this like roll over? Because I know like in the episode you talked a lot about expectations with friends and relationships. Like how does that like roll over into like that realm?
The idea behind that expectation episode was the fact that you cannot expect another human being to read your mind in order for them to do what you have in your mind. You know, it doesn't make sense. I've had people tell me, oh, you're my friend, I expect you to do this for me. It's a very wrong mindset to have. Believe it or yes. I didn't understand that until recently, because when you expect somebody to do that for you and they disappoint you, you get mad, you get frustrated, you get disappointed. But then it's not because they don't want to help you, it's because maybe they can't. You know, for example, maybe you're stranded and you need help. I'm trying to give a practical example. You maybe needed your friend to help you out with something or order an Uber for you. You just had it to your mind that, oh, they're my friend, they'll order an Uber for you. What if they're going through a financial crisis? What if they literally do not have money in their account? You know, and if they tell you, sorry, I can't, you feel bad. Oh, you're being stingy. Oh, you're just being mean. I thought you were my friend. You know, you're betraying me. But it doesn't make sense, because
it's like you get angry when they say no.
Exactly. You get angry when they say no. But then it's you putting your expectation on them, and it doesn't make sense. And I get it if, you know, and there are some situations where you'd be like, you know, please help me. But my thing is, don't get disappointed when they cannot. You understand? Because then you're giving them a whole new level of responsibilities that's beyond their control. I'm trying to
I found this episode so interesting because I can like relate to it so much. And it's almost like sometimes when like your friend or like even if you set up these expectations, it's like the other person doesn't even know that they exist. Don't.
Exactly. And it's in your head, it's in your mind, and you know you feel entitled to the service that they have the authority to give you. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know what you want from them, but then you expect, you're my friend, you saw me suffering, you were supposed to offer your help. How was I supposed to know that I was supposed to offer my help to you? That's number one. Number two, you don't even tell me that you're struggling. You don't tell me what's on your mind. How am I supposed to know? And also there are other things that behavior, you could tell from people's behavior. But my whole message is, do not expect people to do things for you. Do you understand? If you ask nicely and they oblige you, good, fine, yay, everyone. Do you understand? But don't, even though you're asking them for a favor, don't automatically assume that they will do it just because they're your friend. That's wrong.
Or that they'll do it again and
or
again.
they'll do it again and again. No, that's wrong. Or because they did it, sometimes some people do things as a one-time thing. You know, it's a favor, fine, I'll do it for you. But you don't expect me to keep doing that for you all. You know, you know what I'm saying? And back home too, I've also had friends and family reach out to me and be like, oh, and they're getting me scared now to post pictures, because whenever I post pictures, I'm really scared. My stickers, they're like, oh, I like that stickers. Can you send it to me? And I'm like, did you even know if this was the last pair I had? So because I've not worn it because of the winter, and I get to wear it now that I'm traveling out of state, you automatically assume I have 50 pairs. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's just somehow. But sometimes when you tell them no, or you tell them I can't do it, they'll be like, I can't give you because this is for example, I can't give you because this is all I have. Oh, fine, but you could get me a new ones. Yo, that's something I didn't budget for. Do you know how I pay my freaking rent? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know how I pay my school fees? You don't know my financial situation. So why are you assuming that I could give you this when I didn't plan for it? You know? So that's how it is in my head. And it's same thing with family. Same thing with relationships. So relationships, I know people from where I come from, there's some people that are really waiting till marriage and they want this perfect partner. You know, they want somebody that's the ones, oh my Lord, he
The one
is
and
sent
only.
from heaven. Yes, like God, handpicked him, removed all the dust. He's kind, he's caring, he's this, he's that, he's handsome, he's tall. All that nonsense expectation. It's not nonsense,
Right,
because you
right.
know what you want. And I'm going to be talking about standards sometime in the future. But my thing is, it's okay, for you to want some things, but the person don't have to be perfect. Or you end up having this boyfriend, and then you start expecting that every time you guys go out for dinner, he has to pay the bills. Every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel entitled in a way.
Right.
Even though you're the one that asked him out, you're like, so you're going to get the bills. What if he doesn't have the money?
Right.
Or maybe he doesn't, want to go out. Why are you
Right.
expecting people to do things? I mean, I know people have different opinions on, oh, he's my boyfriend, he has to pay the bills, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I don't know, it's supposed to be something you people talk about,
Right, so some kind of mutual agreement.
Mutual agreement. Or if you want so and so expectations, basic expectations, oh, he has to be at least a decent human being, then you will have some sort of talk. You observe him,
Right.
know if this is what you can deal with. You know what I'm saying? And then you move from there. But yeah, that's my own 2 cents. I will not expect anybody to do anything for me. If I ask them for a favor and they say no, I won't be mad. Or at least I'm training my mind not to be mad. Period.
I feel like sometimes in more intimate relationships, sometimes you put the other person on that pedestal scene again, and you're just like, oh, they're all perfect, and they will always
be perfect.
Right.
They're not human beings. They can't make mistakes. You're not expected to make mistakes. You're my boyfriend.
Right, and then you in all those little mistakes that they do make, you dismiss all of it.
Yes. Or you pick things, or you be like, no, you're not supposed to be angry. You're not supposed to be this. You're not supposed to be that. What do you mean by that? I'm a human being.
Right. So it's almost like you're dehumanizing.
Yes. Or what are you even doing to balance it up? What are you doing from your own you get what I'm saying? From your own side, what are you contributing? Are they expecting you to be perfect as well? Are they expecting you to always be there for them? Another thing too is, with human beings, oh my God, we have too much troubles. You always want that person to be there. Oh, you're my best friend. You are supposed to do. I hate that word. You're supposed to. You're supposed to.
Right.
Nobody's supposed to do anything. If they want to do it from their own free will, yay, that's because they want to. But when you try to force it, then it's not natural anymore.
Right.
Right. But again, like I said, it's my own opinion. I don't know how people do things. And you also try to, and another thing too is, I try to advise people, don't do things that you be inconvenient with later. Don't make decisions that you regret and be like, I'll just do it because it's my friend. I mean, there's sometimes like that too, but there are other times where it's when you keep giving.
It's you build up that anger.
Yes,
almost.
It takes from you, and when they explode, you're like, where is this? Oh, where all this energy coming from? You had it coming.
Right.
You just didn't know.
You could have said no.
Yes,
earlier.
Exactly. You had it coming, but but yeah, that's it.
I feel like I used to have that disease, the disease to please. I call it the disease to please because all my friends would tell me that oh, you're like the yes man. You just say yes to everything, and you just want to satisfy people all the time.
Yeah.
And it was just after a long period of time, it was I was doing things that I feel like it started coming from pity rather than being genuine. It's oh, I feel bad for you, so I'll do this. Oh, you have this so hard, so I'll do this for you. But then like you said, later on, it's just kind of I would become resentful or angry.
I'll be mad.
Yeah, when I'm just I did this for you for an hour. I could have just done
something else.
Yeah.
I hated my life. Oh my God, a few years ago, I hated my life so much. I love my friends to death. I really do. But there were times where I was like, you're so stupid, Uchechi. You're so, I call myself Uchechi, my native name sometimes. I'm like, you're so stupid. This person, obviously, you've done this for them. In their mind, you're a good person. You've proven yourself. Clap for yourself. But then you go back home and then you have all these assignments to do. You have all these things to do. And then you're draining yourself and you're stressed all the time. So who lost in this situation?
Right.
Who loses, And I understand the whole thing with balance too, but how low are you supposed to bend yourself to please other people? Right. It takes from you. It takes all the time, especially when you're not expecting anything back. It's you're just giving and giving and giving. Right. At the time, there will be nothing to give. And guess who is at loss? You.
Right.
So you have to find that balance. If it's something you could do conveniently, you say yes. If something you want to go out of your way to do because you feel like doing it, good for you. But if something that you cannot do, or there are other things that are priority,
Right.
please, you have to come first. I mean, it's something I legit had to teach myself, like, within the past year. Like, I had to do things for myself first,
Right.
because that's the only way I can actually give out to other people. Like, I need to take care of myself first. If I don't have it, I don't have it. I cannot kill myself. If I want to, maybe help out, then I'll give what I can. You understand? Because I'm not about to be in trouble or displease myself to make other people happy. I won't do that. No.
Right. So I know you touched base on this a little bit already,
Mhm.
with like your relatives like
Yeah.
messaging you, or people back home messaging you.
Mhm.
I like your third podcast. You Don't Want My Life.
No.
I just can't get over it, because I feel like I'm really, like, I love social media and
Mhm.
everything, but then I feel like today our life on social media,
It's not real.
yeah, it's not real. Like, everyone's always like, oh, like, look at this fancy car, or it's like, I'm traveling to all these amazing places. People see that and they're just
Mhm.
like, wow, you're living the life,
Mhm. Yeah, I talked about this too the last time we had this thing. I touched a little bit about the year 2016, the summer.
Yes.
It was supposed to be the best year ever, because I graduated that year, and everything was supposed to go fine. But then during the summer, I just hit rock bottom, and I was going through a bunch of things. So one of the things was, I wasn't like, I didn't have a job. I was broke. I'm still in that broke session, but it's not as bad as it was before, But like, I was going through stuff, and half the time I would just go on social media, and I'll try to, talk, or I try to advise people, whatever that meant. I'll try to take myself out of my present situation and just try to put myself in this world that was not real. But as far as people were listening to me and engaging me, that was all that mattered, because it was an escape from my reality, right? But then most people misinterpreted that. They thought it was me showing off my perfect life. But the funny thing was, I just take pictures as basic as they are, and then I post them, you know. But I wasn't showing off nothing. But for some strange reason, whatever it is you wear in this country is foreign to people back home. You know what I'm saying? And it's not as if they have a bad mentality, because you're seeing it from a different place. So you think it's maybe new, or but maybe it's something I've been wearing for God knows how long, but they don't see it that way. They just saw me as somebody enjoying my life. The weather there is perfect. I don't know what you're worrying about. I had one of my friends that I, spoke to, and I was telling him, okay, I opened up. I was like, this is what I'm going through. And even after being supportive for like 30 minutes, he flipped it. I mean, not in a bad way, but that was his own version of trying to make me laugh. But then it was serious. He was like, so you're going through depression. So what would you say about people that are back home in Nigeria? I don't know. I mean, I laughed, but then in my head I was like, why would you say that to somebody like that? But the thing is, they always see you as better off, regardless of whatever it is you're going through. You don't have an excuse. You're in America. You're fine. What are you complaining about? I'm sure you have food to eat where you are. You need to be grateful and shut up. Like, I don't know what is going on with you. I see your life as perfect from where I stand, girl. Your shades are shining bright. That's basically what it is.
So it's like they dismiss everything.
They dismiss everything. They don't see it as a real thing that you're going through. That's number one. Number two, they just feel like, you're good where you are, even when you're not. Like I said, I didn't really have a dime to my name. I was looking for jobs. There were times where I just sent like 100 resumes to like 100 different places, but never got a call back. And I was just mad, angry, sad. I had a lot of things going on. But like you said, things on social media sometimes are not what they seem to be. And it's not just social media, it's the way you see other people, it's the way you view other people, even people that you think have their lives together. It's not always the case. Everybody has their own struggles, even when they try to make you feel as if their life is perfect. Because there are some people that actually do that intentionally. They try to show off, oh, my family is this, my family is that. If it's something you want to share out of the place of love, then that's good. But then when you're putting it in other people's face that they have it worse and you have it good, and your life is this perfect, imagination come, reality, then I feel that that's really wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or you also have other people that try to relate to what you're going through, but they do it in a very wrong way.
So it's kind of like, I understand you, but now it's going to be about me.
Oh my Lord. And I'm like, how dare you? I'm going to make a very quick reference. So this conference I went to, right? I had most of the so-called recruiters, except the one, I mean, I've gone to these places so much that you could tell the ones that are senior managers or the ones that are senior technical
But you get to know everyone.
You get to know, you can sense it. You know the ones that just started working for the company, but they are so excited that they wants to be, and those are the ones that will tell you to your face, I used to be like you. I used to be an international student like you. Don't worry, it'll get better. And I feel like, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to go to jail, because it's like, how dare you try to relate what it's like they're making fun of you almost, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but the delivery is just wrong. That's how you tell somebody, don't worry, it'll get better. Do you understand? Just keep trying. Or you try to tell them, give them like real advice. I know not every employer has that time, because you have over 12,000 students. But my thing is, if you don't have any real thing to say at that moment, don't say nothing at all. Just do your job. We'll be fine. We've heard no's like 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? I've broken down 1,000 times. But guess what? For every one time I fall, I get up 2 times. You know what I'm saying? So I get up twice the amount, and I get up fast. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm there on the ground. I'm like, I'm tired. But other times I have to, because I can't keep sitting or lying down there. It's going to get cold outside. It's going to get hot. It's going to rain, and I cannot really be, I need to keep moving regardless of the situation. So I used to, in my head, I'm like, these employers, don't relate your situation to me, and, it's a two-way street too sometimes, because I also have my own assumptions with them. Like, oh, you have this job, you have it all good, but some of them are struggling in their jobs. Some of them are still trying to get the hang of it. They're still trying to figure out what the heck they're doing. I had to learn that sometimes as human beings, your assumptions, sometimes unconsciously we do have assumptions, but when you let those assumptions consume you and the way you think, then everything just falls apart. So just take things one after the other. Be empathetic. We are all human beings. Be decent. Be nice. Be kind. That's the least and the basic thing you can do as a human being. Just keep going, live your life normally, relate with people if you want to. If you don't want to, it's fine. Don't relate your situation with them when it comes off as if you're making fun of them. It doesn't make sense. It's not nice.
It's like, I feel like when I've been in those situations, I feel like most of the time I'm just kind of like, I don't want to hear your advice.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear what you have to say. It's like, I just want you to hear me.
Yes.
And listen to me.
Yes. And if you want to say something to me, at least be kind about it.
Right.
A word sometimes can go a long way, it can go a long way to make you feel better. It comes off like you just have to make the delivery good. And you have to mean it. You have to be real with it, because people can tell when you're just BSing them.
Right. And I feel like when you're in those situations, when somebody's like, "Oh, it'll get better," you're just kind of like, "Don't tell me this now."
I'm like this in my mind. I'm like, just leave me alone.
Yeah, because like at that point you're already like, like,
how dare you? I know it'll get better. I know.
I know. Like, right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like that dude from Deloitte. He was. I'll not lie. He was a very kind person. You could tell. But I was so frustrated that for the first few minutes, I shut him out, because I was looking at him, but in my head, I was like, I'm not listening to whatever it is you want to say.
Right.
I could hear him, but I wasn't listening.
It was just kind of like going out
it was
the other
just
ear.
yapping. But then what I took from the entire conversation, and I said this in my podcast, he kept saying endurance. He kept saying endurance. And when I went back home, I thought about it, and I was like, oh,
one word you captured.
One word. I heard everything he said, but I wasn't listening. I wasn't actively listening enough to take something from it, apart from the word endurance, right? And that framed my thinking when I got back home to Minnesota, when I was trying to get myself in a better place. Because he was telling me the story of how he wanted this company so bad, Lockheed Martin's. He wanted the company so bad, and he came for Nesby, and then he just went into Raytheon company,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end of the day he got hired by the company, but he barely knew anything about the company. And then they hired him after some years back. He wanted to work for Lockheed Martin so much, and he went back and he worked for Lockheed Martin. So after like a year or two in the job, Deloitte contacted him. There's this thing they call headhunters where they look for people's resumes on like LinkedIn. So they contacted him for a job. He didn't even apply for it, and that's how he got the job. So he was saying that at the point his senior year, he was really frustrated and he wanted this job so bad. He kept applying, but he kept rejecting him. Lockheed Martins at the time. He had to go through a different place in order for him to still come back to where he wanted to be. And eventually, when he got it, he found out that was not really what he wanted. So it's like when you try to kill yourself about something, sometimes it might not be worth it, and you will not know because you've not gotten it yet, you've not tasted it yet, so you might not, figure out what you want eventually. But basically, he was just saying, be patient. And at that point, everything that was in my head was, how dare you? You are a freaking American citizen. Of course you could work for any company here. You don't know the struggle, That was like my rebuttal statement in my head, But and part of the reason why I shut him out, because I was in a please don't BS me state. Like I was not in the mood to hear. And he was telling me, he was like, sit up. And not in a bad way. I follow him on LinkedIn, so I might post some of these things on LinkedIn, but you could tell he was a very kind person. And he had questions. He was like, what exactly will he do? And he knew from my reaction and my body language, he was like, you're a very smart girl, but like, what will it take to date you? I mean, I'm not asking because, I'm married, but like, it's the same way with employers. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes when there's this one guy that's always asking you, and you keep shutting him down, eventually when you give them audience, you ask him, what's my last name? And he doesn't know anything about you. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is with some of the students. They don't know nothing about the company, but they want to work for the company. So his scenarios eventually made sense when I was in a better place. But at that point, in the moment, I wasn't having it, because I'm like, I know most things about Deloitte because I've been applying for your jobs. I've been researching your company. I've been talking to the employers in your company, recruiters on LinkedIn and stuff. But for some strange reason, it's not working out. So why wouldn't I get frustrated? And then when you tell me all these things, I just had this assumption of, oh, look at you, you're just seated there, you have everything. But it's not always the case. People struggle too. That's basically the head and the tail of this entire story. Sorry, I didn't mean to digress, but
But what did you learn from, like after you were able to like sit back? What did you
learn from that? Learned to be patient. As hard as that sounds, I feel sometimes I'm a very impatient person. Sometimes, but like especially in this job searching process, because I have a plan. Like I told you, I try to be very organized. I have a plan, and when things don't work according to my plan, I lose it. I'm like, oh, everything is falling apart. But I've learned to be patient, or I'm learning to be patient. I'm learning to let go and let God. I'm a very spiritual person, or at least I try to be. So sometimes I believe that God has a plan for everyone, right? And in as much as sometimes we try to make our own plans and try to drag God to bless our plans, even when what He has for us is bigger and better. I'll give you a very quick scenario. It's like having a teddy bear, right? It's a very small teddy bear. And you have God in front of you, and He has this big thing behind Him. And He's telling you, give me what you have. And because it's not, if I give it to you, I'm thinking, I'm a logical person, I'm smart. I'm thinking, I'm like, if I should give it to you, I won't have anything left. My plan is going to be scattered.
It's like you're losing it.
Yes, I'm losing it. Like I wouldn't, I wouldn't have anything left. It's going to disrupt my plan. What would I use? What would be my toy? I'm just giving you an example. Like what would be my toy? What would I depend on? And He's telling you, trust me and give me what you have, because He has a bigger teddy bear behind. So it's like the way I'm looking for a job right now, right? He's asking for my patience. He's asking me to trust Him. He's asking me to, even though it's not what I want at the moment, it's going to eventually be there.
Right.
I don't know when. I don't know exactly, because that child, she doesn't know exactly. She doesn't know what he has, but you just have to trust that it's going to happen eventually. So when you let what you have go, then you'll be able to receive something better. So, learning to be patient, learning to trust, God, and trust what His plan for me eventually, even though I have no idea what that is. It wouldn't stop me from, working, because another thing people fail to understand is it's a joint partnership. So in as much as you believe in God, you don't have to leave all the work to him. He has to see that you're working. He has to see that you're serious
You
minded
have to
person.
put the effort to
You
it.
have to put the effort. And then the little effort you put in, he blesses it. And sometimes even when you have your own plan, all your own things figured out, you're not in charge of your life. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to leave it to higher powers to
let the higher power guide you.
Guide you, guide your heart and your spirit to make the right decision. That's it. So those are the lessons so far.
So what's the dream for you now?
Oh, dreams.
Like, let's just say if everything was all perfect and everything, what's the dream for you?
I really want to be happy. Like
and what does that look like?
Happiness is me, eventually being in a state where I could impact people positively. I don't want to be very definite with what I want to do, because at this point I'm not really sure what I want to do, career wise. But because I have a lot of things in my head, and I want to get to a place where I'm comfortable enough to pay my bills without thinking twice about it. I want to be comfortable to enjoy whatever it is I'm doing at the moment, and having that thing directly impact somebody. So if my podcast were to go viral one day in the future, and I'm sitting with Oprah and we're talking about real life situations like this, I want whatever I say on air to actually make somebody else feel like I can actually do it. If she did it, I could do it. I will, even though, she went through a phase, so I could comfortably go through that phase too. I can, go through it and accept whatever comes with it, like, with boldness, with courage, and with the mindset that it will eventually get better because she did it.
Right.
I was reading this story of Tiffany Haddish, and
yes, I love her.
I love everything about her. Like, she's not your typical star. She's not somebody that you would have, guessed would come and become this talented individual. You know what I'm saying? But even when people called her loud, even when people called her several things, she's thriving. You could see past her personality and see through her heart. You could know that she's a genuine human being. And after reading her book, I was like, if she went through whatever it is she went through, I could do it too. You know what I'm saying? I could go through life and come out at the other side and be like, yes, I'm happy where I am. I'm comfortable. I'm content. And that's what happiness would look like for me in the future. I'm getting there. So
the journey,
yeah.
So if you were, let's say, like, you were in a room and you were sitting across like a younger version of you, say like the 18-year-old you, what message or what would you say to yourself?
Uchechi, you're going to make mistakes in the future. You will. Don't be too serious with your life, whatever that means. Like, learn to leave, because I feel I had a lot. I grew up with learning to leave my life for other people, both at home, consciously, unconsciously, not because they had responsibility for that, but it was more of, what would people say, So I was just basically, a few years ago was when I was like, you know what, I need to do things that actually, feel good. And if at all I want to do things for other people, it has to be solely my decision. Does that make sense? So basically, I'll tell her, Uchechi, live your life. Enjoy the process. Don't be too much in a hurry to get 50 things done at the same time. Acknowledge the fact that you make mistakes. I mean, still be who you are, because, girl, you are perfect. Serious, organized, always having a heart for others, which is good. But try not to take life too seriously. Like, just, it's okay to just be the teenager that you are, pretty much. That's it.
Love that. So the last question I have to wrap up everything. So if you had the everyone on this planet's attention for just a brief moment, and if you could only leave 3 things with them, what would those 3 things be? And they could be anything.
Water. I'm just kidding. Remember that you're a human being first, and being a human being, I'm still learning, is the fact that we all make mistakes. We are not perfect. The learning process never ends. You learn every single day, even when you think you're at the point in your life where you're like, yeah, I have things figured out. I think my life is okay. You still learn as you go. So be a human being. Don't be pressured to be perfect, because you are not perfect. That's the first thing. Second thing, acknowledge the good characteristics of being a human being. Be kind, be decent, have have empathy towards other people. Yeah. And then the third thing is work hard. Be your dream. Be the very best version of yourself, and don't be limited by the choices around you. You could do 1,000 things if you wanted to. You could be whoever you want to be. You could be a good person if you wanted to be. If you had a dream of being a pilot, an engineer, an architect, and a lawyer at the same time, you could plan your life very well, and you could do all those things regardless of the external factors. So 3 things: be a human being, embrace all the good characteristics that comes with being a human being, and I mentioned those: kindness, empathy, and also be your own dream.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. Thank you, Favour, for coming on
you.
and being my first ever guest.
Yeah.
And I highly suggest following Favour. Where can they find you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Favour Ojika. So FAVOUR OJIKA. That's my handle on those channels. Also, I have a podcast called Just Say It.
Say It.
And it has a pink ribbon beside it. So in case you're looking for it on Apple, Google, Spotify, that's what it is. Just Say It. We also have an email, justsayitforever@gmail.com. In case you have any questions, any scenarios you want us to talk about. We're just, trying to find a way to live this thing called life. So let us know.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you all for watching my interviews with Favour. She just has so much wisdom to share with the world. Favour is such a phenomenal person. And please remember to follow her at her social media and to listen to her podcast. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to email me or to comment below or send it to a social media. One of my social media platforms. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and remember to hit the like button and to subscribe. Until next time.